Well, the Colts season is officially over. As you all know, they fell to the Buffalo Bills this past weekend in the Super Wildcard round of the NFL playoffs. And now they look to the future. And the Colts find themselves in a very unique position, especially when it comes to the quarterback position. As you know, Philip Rivers was only signed for 1 year. He becomes a free agent. Jacoby Brissett, who started for the Colts in the 2019 season and backed up Philip Rivers this year, he's a free agent. So right now, as it stands, the Colts only have one quarterback on their roster, and that is rookie Jacob Eason. Eason was drafted in the 4th round. You have a lot of people that think he could be the quarterback of the future, but quite frankly, it's just too early to tell. We didn't get to see Eason in any game action this year. The preseason got scratched due to the pandemic, obviously, and Eason was always, held separate from Brissett and Rivers in case there was a COVID case between them. The other one to be close contact. We had Eason as our emergency quarterback. So, why this situation is so unique for the Colts is this. If the team was rebuilding, it would be easy to say, okay, go draft a quarterback, or go sign a young quarterback with a lot of potential and build around him, or even give Eason a shot and see where he's at. But that just simply isn't the case for the Colts. Remember, the Colts are coming off an 11-win season where they made the playoffs. Now, how did we get in this position? Well, as most Colts fans remember and don't need a reminder of, just two years ago, right before the season, their franchise quarterback Andrew Luck abruptly retired. Now that left the Colts with probably one of the worst problems they have. They have the team built around a quarterback, but the problem is they don't have a franchise quarterback. So what do? So I'm going to go through some of the options that's been thrown out there. I'm going to tell you which two options I think seem to make most sense to me. But I'm just going to go down the list. We're going to go over some of these possibilities, the positives and minuses of making these moves, and we'll see where we're at. So obviously a first option would be sign Rivers for another year. Rivers, yeah, he's going to turn 40 next season. Obviously we know Frank Reich wants him back. He's advocated for that all year basically, and especially since they lost on Saturday. Rivers, he clearly wants to be back. He's made it known that if we welcome him back for another year, he'd be more than happy to come back. Now we all know Rivers had a past, the past couple years before coming to Indy, especially the last season in Los Angeles with the Chargers. Rivers declined quite a bit. Maybe because of the age, maybe because of the team around him. But the Colts, Frank Reich, Chris Ballard signed him before the season as a 39-year-old quarterback. A lot of Colts fans didn't like it, some loved it. But the fact of the matter is, Rivers was able to produce. He had one of the best offensive lines in football, and he was, back with Frank Reich, who had been coaching with Rivers when they were in the San Diego Chargers. Rivers, he threw for over 4,000 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 11 picks. And, like I stated, was good enough to get the Colts into the playoffs. So an advantage to bringing Rivers back. Obviously, you already know this is a system, and he's shown that he can do enough to get the Colts into the playoffs. But the question is, can he get them over the hump? Rivers has never been to a Super Bowl, and obviously has never won a Super Bowl. And he's not getting any younger. Like I said, he'll be turning 40 next year. And the Colts need to decide if Philip Rivers in a season that he turns 40 is going to be enough to get them over the hump and not just to the Super Bowl, or not just to the playoffs, but hopefully to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. If not, then in my mind it'd be a waste of a year and waste of money. Another possibility you're seeing a lot of is, trade for Carson Wentz. You see this all over the place. There's even been quote-unquote sources saying that Wentz wants to be in Indy. And the facts are, 2017, a second season, the year that the Eagles went on to win the Super Bowl. Of course, Wentz was injured and didn't play in the Super Bowl. But in that season, in 13 games, he played unbelievable. 33 touchdowns and only 7 interceptions. And in those 13 games, he led the Eagles to an 11-2 record. In 2018, he had a decent year. Then 2019, he threw for over 4,000 yards, 27 touchdowns, and only 7 interceptions. If you take that body of work alone, then this sounds like a no-brainer. If Wentz wants here, the Eagles are willing to trade for him. However, we all saw what happened this season. Wentz struggled. He was leading the league in interceptions and fumbles. And it was bad enough to where Eagles coach Doug Peterson decided to pull the plug and bench Wentz for their rookie quarterback Jalen Hurts. So the question is this. That 2017 season, Frank Reich was Carson Wentz's offensive coordinator. I'm sure there's still some magic there, but Wentz has, faced multiple injuries over those years. So the question is it the injuries that led to Carson Wentz, performing so poorly this year? Or is there something there fundamentally that Frank Reich can step in and we can get Wentz, faced back in the direction that it needs to? Like I said, that's a big question mark. And Wentz, he's under a massive contract. I think for the next 3 or 4 years, he'll be making over $30 million a season. And for a big question mark like that, I'm not sure that the Colts would want to, take a chance, or that big of a chance, on someone that could work out. So, like I said, Wentz could be a lot of potential there, but the risk-reward factor is kind of what you're worried about. Another one that I've seen is possibly trading for Matthew Stafford. Now, Stafford is 33 years old, I believe. So realistically, he's still got another 4 or 5 years of decent football left in him. And he's still under contract, I believe, for 2 more seasons. And there's a lot of rumblings going around up in Detroit that the Lions might be looking to, move on from Stafford, which I think would be doing a favor to Stafford more than the Lions. And the key about that, Stafford, despite the bad teams, despite facing injuries, he's performed consistently well in Detroit. And here's the kicker. Like I say, he's under contract for 2 more years, and in those 2 seasons he's still under contract, he would cost significantly less than Carson Wentz. So, not as big of a question mark, at least in my mind. You're going to get production out of Stafford. He's older than Wentz, but not too old to perform, and he's going to cost less. There again, the question remains, through all the years in Detroit has not been a great team. How much is that on, the ownership and management in Detroit not putting a team around him, and how much is that of Stafford not being able to be consistent? So there again, you got a plus reward of possibly bringing in Stafford. I talked about Eason earlier. There's a lot of people that think Eason should, that they should give Eason a shot. And like I said earlier, we didn't get to see him in any games. You don't know what you have in Eason yet. He was hyped up before the draft, but at the end of the day, he was still a 4th-round pick that, in my mind, Chris Ballard took. Oh, look, he's still there. We might as well take him. Even if you think Eason is the future, I think you have to bring in, Rivers for another year and see what Eason can do behind him, or bring in a guy like Stafford and see what Eason can do behind him. And then there's also the route of the draft. Now the Colts, they're going to be picking somewhere in the 20s in the 1st round. So you might as well, throw out guys like Lawrence, probably even Justin Fields. So you're going to be left looking at guys like Kyle Trask out of Florida, Zach Wilson out of BYU, or Mac Jones out of Alabama. And these are all guys that have potential, but you also have Eason sitting on your roster, and you have to be a judge for yourself, the gap between Eason and some of these guys. If you think Eason has has even the slightest chance of performing at the same level, I couldn't see the Colts wasting a 1st-round pick on a quarterback. So now that I've gone through the whole entire list, these are just, like I said, some of the possibilities. It could be something completely completely off the wall in none of these scenarios. I'm gonna say that in my mind, the best part, or not, I'm not gonna say the most realistic, but in my opinion, what the Colts should do is try to go ahead and make the trade for Stafford. Like I said, he's only 33. He's been productive every season in Detroit. The dude is tough as nails. He played through so many injuries in the last couple weeks for Detroit on a team that had no chance of going to the playoffs. So you can't question his commitment to the game. You can't question his toughness, and you can't question the fact that he's talented. He's clearly talented. And by going the route with Stafford, like I said, you have 3 or 4 years before you're in this position again, where you have to make a choice on your quarterback position. And in those 3 or 4 years, you could either be building Eason up, you could be scouting guys in college. And here's the kicker. While doing all that, Stafford plays at an elite enough level that the Colts will be in position to possibly not just get to the playoffs, but hopefully get to the Super Bowl and hopefully win one with Stafford. Let me know what you guys think. That's just the way I see it. I have a Facebook page called Joey Denny Sports Journalism. You can come over there and like my page. Every morning there I do an Indiana sports morning show where I basically talk about all the sporting events that happened the day prior in the state of Indiana and what to look for that day in the state of Indiana. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys next time.